Hi everyone and welcome to this week episode. And guess who is back? My favorite guest, Kirsty from and it's so nice to have you back. Seriously, I think like we can do some co-hosting or anything on the podcast because every episode we do, it's I have so much fun and it is great you share your tips. So for anyone who doesn't know you, can you please introduce yourself because you're badass a coach and we need to know a little bit more about you.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. I am super excited to be back. This is now episode 3 with me, which is just amazing. I have such a blast here. So, if you have not listened to one of the previous episodes, I am an independent mum to 2 little girls. I am a badass business coach and I help mums build their business in the online space. So, when I say build, we build, launch, and scale their online businesses so they can unlock their highest levels of happiness, success, and freedom. So yeah, I won't take up too much time introducing myself because I know I've got a lot to talk about today.
Yes. And by the way, we will talk today about how it is like a time management and how to kind of master the time management when you are a mom in business. But if you want to know more about Kirsty and her story, she launched her academy and all the details, we talk more about it in the episode which is called Moms in Business. So it's a few episodes back in the podcast. Have a listen to that before maybe go today this episode, and so you can have a better image how actually Kirsty started because it's a great story. So in the first episode we were talking about starting your own business as a mom. So
Yeah.
at that point, I'm still only stepmom, but in a few weeks, few days, wherever, I will be mom as well. And I've been running my own business from home, and it comes with a lot of challenges, and especially even now during the pregnancy, I'm already preparing myself or preparing the business, let's say. So it's not just sending out the message that I'm out of the office, but it's a lot of things to have, to put it in a place. But let's talk today about how to actually run a business without, with being mom, being partner or wife, and then how to manage it everything, because that's when things get tricky.
Yes, definitely. The number one thing I would say is to understand what your priorities are. So by all means, I know you are days away from having this baby. And I know what it's like I've been in that situation, having 2 girls before. For me, my priority at that time was to be mum and to be in that bubble and to completely enjoy that. So definitely if it's a situation like that, then plan ahead, figure out how much time you want to take just to relax into being a new mum, sort out everything, plan out your business and things for going forward. But when you are back at work, and for all mums that have children, that have stepchildren, whatever situation they are in, the best thing that you can do is understand what your priorities are. So obviously I get up in the morning, I'll use this just as an example. I am on my own here with my 2 little girls. They're 6 and 9. So they're both at school. And in the mornings we get up, get them ready for school, and I drop them off at school. Now, the mornings in my house are chaotic. It's like that scene from Home Alone where there's like 75 kids, and everyone's going in a million different directions. That's my house on a school morning. It is crazy. Now, I can come home from the school run and think, I need to put washing on. I need to do some dishes from breakfast. I need to make the beds. I need to hoover. I need to do all these things. But my priority as a mum that has a business is to move my business forward. So yes, the house needs to be done, but it doesn't need to be done first thing. The first thing I need to do is to work on my business, to be productive, and not just do the kinds of things like all the behind the scenes stuff and all the checking emails and that sort of thing. Do the income producing activity that I know is going to move my business forward. And once I've done that, I usually put it all into an hour in the morning. I call it my power hour. Once I have done my power hour of work, all income producing activity, I then spend 45 minutes to an hour and a half and I'll sort out the house. I'll do everything I have to do. I'll have a coffee, I'll sort out some food, and then I'm straight back into work again. I'm in proper work mode. So it's all about being really intentional and knowing what your priorities are, because if you get up in the morning and the first thing that you do, you know you've got your life as a mum, you know you've got a house that you're looking after, you know you've got your business. If you're not choosing your business first, then you should be saying to yourself, my business is not my priority. And that's not going to get you where you want to be in your business journey.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I can, even before when I started my business, I was in a space when I was taking the house as excuse to, avoiding the business and avoiding a study or avoiding whatever I had to do, because it was challenging. I had to put myself outside of my comfort zone. I didn't want to do the sales calls or wherever. I wasn't clear on stuff. So there was a lot of things like I noticed at some point that like, oh, I'm just using the house as excuse. And I know it can wait, the dishes can wait, the laundry can wait, or even though if I quickly put it in, I know it's there and it's washing and I don't need to worry about it anymore. But I was taking a lot of this as an excuse as well. So that's very tricky, and it can be really slippery road to either, how you're saying, like you make it the house priority, but not your business. Or there's another aspect to it when you're taking the house and kids and everything as, in a way, your excuse. And I don't want to sound patronizing, but that's exactly what happened to me. Then it's just excuse, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really easy to hide behind stuff that you feel needs to be done. But I know at the end of the day, if my partner was to come home, I would much rather say to him, you'll never guess what I've done in my business today, rather than, oh, look, I hoovered. Do you know what I mean? Like, because my priority is business. And I don't care if he comes to the house and there's stuff that needs done. Same as ladies with partners and husbands. If they come home, it shouldn't be a big deal if dinner's not ready or the laundry's not folded, because if you can have the conversation of, you'll never guess what happened in my business today, that's you living with purpose, that's you living with passion, that's you doing the thing that you want to do. The house is always going to be there. Your business will not always be there if you don't put in the work. So it's all about prioritizing what's most important.
That's so very true, because my husband is very supportive of my business and my, the podcast and everything I do. And, to be honest, like, yeah, he loves having the dinner done, or, but it's something I enjoy to do. But again, it's like, oh, okay, I need to schedule my day a certain way, or I finish working at certain time, so I know I can make the dinner and it doesn't stress me. But, obviously, who knows what's going to happen when the kids are around. So I have a little bit easier life right now for next few weeks. But there's a one thing about prioritizing the house or thing, and we talk about it on like private chat together, that a lot of moms feel like that it needs to be done because there is the money money thing involved. Because obviously, if you are on a maternity leave, or you like housewife, whatever title is, or whatever the situation is, sometimes the dads or the partners are bringing the money, and then like you can be in some sort of unwritten agreement that your husband or partner thinks that you are the one who's looking after the kids in the house, and then it can really turn into a big source of resentment, because you're really trying to run your business, but then that's your responsibility is the house and the kids. And so what would you suggest to moms in that kind of situation?
Yeah, so it's funny actually, because I have been in that exact situation. I went down a different route than what I'm going to advise, because I went down the route of divorce. And it doesn't have to get that far. If you're in a situation where you have your own business, you have all these huge goals and dreams, and you really, really want that to move forward. And you know that you've got kids, you've got a house, all of these things. That's a lot of plates to spin. But all it takes before you get to the point where I was like in a very dead end situation where I was running a house, I was raising kids, I was doing nursery run and a school run all the time on my own. I was cooking all the meals, I was cleaning all the house, and I was still working full-time hours in my business. It was mental, and I reached the point of complete burnout and exhaustion. Now, had I had a conversation about that and communicated, you know, I'm feeling really, really rubbish here. Can you give me a help? Like, help me with this. We're in this together. The way I always look at it as husband and wife or partners, whatever the situation is, you're in the trenches together. The second you feel like you're in the trenches on your own, you need to have a conversation. For me personally, with that and a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on, it wasn't even worth a conversation. I knew that my next step was to be on my own with my girls. But certainly now with my partner, I say to him, like we had this conversation the other day, I was cooking dinner and I said to him, can you peel the potatoes? I'll do this. Can you do that? You know, rather than me feeling like I should do everything on my own, I also realized that he should be there helping me. You know, yes, I love cooking. Yes, we have amazing food on the table every single night because it's something that I enjoy. But I also want him to be a part of that as well and respect the fact that I have my own thing with my business. He has his own thing with his work and his business. We come together when it is everything with our houses, with our living situations, with food, with all of that sort of thing. That's both of us together. But what I also realized is he, like many other men, and I know we've had this conversation a few times, might every now and again need a little bit of direction. Rather than me standing really frustrated, peeling vegetables or cooking chicken or whatever I'm doing, thinking, why isn't he helping me? I don't know why in that situation, ladies don't say, I need you to do this. I need you to help me. Why don't you do this? I'll do that. We'll stick on some music. We'll catch up. It'll be great. You know, it's all about communication and letting your significant other help and be a part of everything and letting them know that your business is your priority. Everything else, it's a team effort.
Yeah, it's really good, very good, because we had a similar conversation with my husband lately on during a last couple of years, and it was always okay. I don't like, for example, I can't stand him helping me in the kitchen much because I'm the type of person like I need to do it alone. But on the other hand, like I don't know, he does the dishwasher. So he flows and unloads the dishwasher. So it's really, and you would say, oh, it's just stupid dishwasher, but that's half an hour every day, let's say. And then how much time does it give you over a week? And how much time does it, save you with the stressing and overthinking, resentment, and being upset at your husband or partner because he's not helping you? And as the one thing, like you need to, if you want to have your business to be priority number one, you need to really talk to your partner or, hire a cleaner.
Exactly.
I know now with the lockdowns and everything, it may be tricky to get someone in your house. And I know you're up north, so that's probably no. I have no idea. So it is tricky now, like, well, maybe we can't get a cleaner now, but once the things are, done, you will be able to get a cleaner. And so just like prioritize your time, isn't it?
Exactly.
So how do you prioritize the time? or how does the time management?
Yes. When it comes to prioritizing time, I have certain routines that I like to do during the day. So I actually just recorded an Instagram reel just before we came on here for this chat on my super solid morning routine that I do from 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock every single morning. So I get up in the morning and I start with that because that preps my mind and my body for peak performance during the day. So by the time the kids get up, I'm ready to go. Then between 7 and 9, That's all about the kids. I'm in mum mode. Business doesn't matter. My phone doesn't get answered. I don't go on social media. I am there to get my kids ready for school, to do all the things, do all the hairstyles, and change their uniforms 5 times because one shirt looks better than the other, and 2 girls getting ready for school. Like, it's a mission, okay? It is a mission. But during those 2 hours, there's no real structure. As long as the kids get to school, it's fine. So those 2 hours are dedicated to the kids. And then as soon as I come home, so from just after 9 o'clock till about 2:30, that is my business time. That is when I am so focused on my business. And after that, when I pick the kids up from school, I don't really look at my phone much. I'm not on social media much. I don't really update my content or my stories on social media a lot in the evening because I'm being present with my kids. So for me, having those structures in place and knowing when my business hours are and when my family time and my mum time is with my kids is super important, because my kids deserve me to not be sitting looking at my phone every 2 seconds. You know, I'll check things every now and again, but I know I'm not doing any coaching in the evenings. I'm not hosting any masterclasses in the evenings. If people want to watch one of my masterclasses in the evening, they can watch a replay, because that's my time with my kids. And being a mum on my own, it's even more important that they have my full attention, or as much of my attention as I can give them at that point in time. But during the day, I time block my day. So I will write down a list of everything that needs to be done that day, and I will group it together into categories. So one thing could be social media work. So it could be some stuff on Instagram, some stuff on Facebook, checking in with my clients in my Facebook groups. I will chunk all of that together, write that in my diary. So I will look at that and say, okay, so that's going to take an hour and a half. And I will put that in my diary from 9:30 till 11 o'clock. All I am doing is all my social media work. And then I'll have a look at what else I have to do. So maybe I have a one-to-one coaching client. I'll have a look, okay, so their appointment is 11:15 till 12:15. I'll block that in my diary. In the afternoon, I might spend some time creating some content. So writing out some posts, working on a workbook for inside the academy or the next module or whatever I'm doing. I will group all that together and I will section off some time in my diary, like time block some time for content creation. And I know, looking back at that, I highlight each different block of time in a different color. So I know when I look at that, okay, first thing in the morning, that's all my social media time. All my social media work is done in one, and then that's it. After that, okay, I've got a client call, that's great. After that, I've got lunch, that's great. Like, I schedule my time during my working hours so that I can get everything done within that time frame. Now, every now and again, you will have days like today, like I was saying to you earlier, you are throwing a curveball and a million different things happen. That's okay. You can look at that day, look at that work and think, okay, I don't still have to do all of this today. Some of it I can move to tomorrow. Some things maybe aren't that important and can be put off till next week. Maybe an appointment you could phone and you could change that to a different time. Like, don't stress and don't put pressure on yourself when things don't go as planned, because stress and pressure, it doesn't serve you at all.
Thank you for the explaining the blocking your time. And I was actually thinking when you were saying before, how do you split your time between the business and the family? And what I've noticed I was doing earlier in my business journey, it was that I thought that I have to really push through a lot of things, and then I end up working till like 9 or 10 p.m. Yeah. And I just not, I was looking at it, I was like, but I'm not being productive. I'm not really doing things properly, or I'm wasting a lot of my time. And the time I spent on my business, it wasn't, quality time. It was a lot of wasting time, and what I thought is like, oh, it have to be done, or that is a
Mhm.
priority number one. So is there any kind of what to avoid or what to be careful when you start noticing you putting your business as your priority number one, but it's not good, it's unhealthy, or it's not serving you and the business?
Yeah, 100% you need to put boundaries in place. So a lot of the work that I do with clients is on boundaries. It is so, so important. And this is coming from me. Like I can look back at something came up in my Facebook memories just about a week ago. And it was actually me posting on Facebook at about 2 o'clock in the morning one day saying, I have just woken up because I fell asleep at my desk. Now, that was a regular thing for me. I used to put my kids to bed at 8 o'clock. I used to come through, I used to sit at my desk, and I would not move until I passed out because I was so tired. I was working myself into the ground. And you know what? I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make. I wasn't signing the clients that I wanted to sign. I wasn't as confident in my abilities and my business offering as what I wanted to be. But I thought the answer was, well, I have to push more. I have to do more, like keep going, keep going. But you know what? See, when I decided to say, I'm actually going to put the kids to bed, I'm going to get a bar of chocolate and I'm going to take my laptop to bed and I'm going to watch some Netflix. And then I'm going to fall asleep and I'll be sleeping by 9:30. That meant I could wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I could do my super solid morning routine, be done by 6, and still have an entire hour to work on something if I wanted to before the kids got up. So it's all about boundaries and choosing what works for you. Like, just remember, you don't work for your business. You know, you're not an employee of your business. You're not a slave to your business. You shouldn't be sitting working when you're thinking, I just want to be lying in the bath right now. Like, as soon as you get that thought, turn off your computer and go and run yourself a bath, because you're human. Like, you cannot be hustling and grinding 24/7. Don't get me wrong, there's times in your business where that has to be done. You know, before a big launch, I will be sitting, I will be doing late night masterclasses, I will be creating content in the early hours of the morning when it feels good for me. If it doesn't feel good, I don't do it, because I want to love my business every single day of my life. I love my business that much. It's just an extension of me. Like, I don't feel like I work. I just feel like I speak to incredible, badass women all day long. I get to do some work on social media. I get to play about. Like, that's work. Like, I earn money from that. Like, how lucky does that make me? But it's only because I made it that way. Because I decided I'll only do what feels good. And when it doesn't feel good, things need to change.
That's perfect. And I just wrote down, like, if I want to. This
Yeah,
is so
exactly.
important. And I realized that a while back. And what really was helpful as well with me getting like good kick was the episode we did last time on masculine and
Yeah.
feminine energy. But if I want to, it's so important, because what I start doing when, I said, okay, I will finish work at 5 o'clock,
Mhm.
usually around it, most of the days. And it's just because I know that, like, oh, then I get hungry, and with the pregnancy, it's like everything is on schedule. And so it's like, oh, it works for me when I finish at 5 o'clock, because then I can make, go for a walk and make a dinner, or I have that time when I chill out. And
Exactly.
then if I want to, I can go back and do something later on, because my husband is in the office, or he's working late, or doing interviews, for his stuff. So if I want to, I can be on a phone and interact with other people or creating a post, but it's really only if I want to. And this
Exactly.
is so important, especially I think for women, and when we struggle with there are a lot of responsibilities and a
Yeah.
time management, and that's having fun as well. I wrote down, like, have fun with what you
Exactly.
do.
Like, if business doesn't feel good, make a change so that it does feel good. Like, you want to get up every single day and absolutely love your day. And if you don't, you really need to look back at that and think, where have I gone wrong today? Because if you're not loving your life, then there's a problem.
Absolutely. Like if, and it thought, funny enough, we talked about it with my husband last month, and I said sometimes I feel like I don't want to be on a social media. I don't want to. And then the last, I think, a week, I was focusing. I really was quiet on Instagram because I said, oh, I have doing interviews nearly every other day, preparing for the baby, preparing the business and everything. And I was like, I don't really want to be on the social media. I don't know, it's not good. I know I should be there and should interact, but in a way, like I'd rather not be there than showing up just because I have to, and then it won't be me.
Exactly. There is actually a little way that you can work around about that, and that's with Instagram stories. So Instagram stories are an incredible feature. They're one of the most interactive features on social media at the moment. Now, LinkedIn have just introduced their stories feature in the last 48 hours, and it's going to absolutely explode over there. Like, I know it is. So the story feature really shouldn't be ignored. What people want on your Instagram stories, same as Facebook stories, is they want a behind the scenes of your life. Like, people are nosy, people are curious. Play into that with your stories. So take you, for example, like, your audience will know that you're expecting this baby. You have this baby coming up and your whole world is about to shift in the most incredible way. Sharing a little bit of, here's what I bought the baby today, or here's a picture of the pram, like I cannot wait to go out for our first walk in this pram, or anything like that. That is what your audience, they want that behind the scenes info. And the thing is, even when you feel like you don't want to show up, like I have days where I don't want to show up on social media. Not very often, because I'm just like that, but I have those days. But you can't tell because my stories are consistent. My stories keep everything moving forward. I'll share my dog doing something stupid. I'll share something with my kids. I'll share the fact that I've got my journal out and I'm writing some stuff out. I'll share that I'm making my 27th coffee of the day. Like, I don't drink that much coffee, but just as an example, I'll share all these different things because that's just me living my life. I don't have to go to any extra effort to share that on my stories. But what that does is that keeps your audience engaged, so that when you feel like you're ready to come back, your audience doesn't actually think you've been anywhere. So 1,000,000%, if you ever feel like that, jump on your Instagram stories and just start sharing bits and pieces to make sure that your audience are still there, because they will not notice that you're not around. Okay, it's a little secret Instagram hack for you.
It's really, really true, and for everyone, because I feel more comfortable, almost just fun, just like do a quick story or something, because I don't know, maybe it's because it doesn't, it goes away if you don't save it in 24 hours. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's not there. Exactly. And I've been noticing that they have a much more interaction through the stories than from the post most of the time, or it depends what you obviously create. But there's the one thing, even if you feel like, oh, I haven't done any post today, and start stressing about that, social media should be priority number one. As soon as like, okay, well, I really don't have time for this today, or I don't manage, then I do a quick story. Yeah. And it's more fun. It's more fun than thinking about the post. Another thing is scheduling posts. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Scheduling posts. How do you do that? How do you actually save your, when you were talking about blocking, your diary? Yeah. What do you usually, like, quick tips on how to exactly, if you don't like social media that much, or if you feel, what do you do?
Yeah, well, what I do, the first thing is actually to take it off of social media altogether. I love being creative. So I sit and I write. I will write everything in a journal or in the notes on my phone, like whatever I have to hand. And I then, when it comes time to create some content, if I'm really struggling for ideas, I will look back at things that I've written. I can actually turn that into a piece of content that works for me in my business. So that's what I tend to do in the afternoons most days when I am creating some content for my business. Now, I'll create 3 or 4 posts, but I won't post them all. I will create them and I will save them so that I know when it comes time for me to say, okay, so I want to put a post on my Facebook today, or I need to put a post on my Instagram today. If I'm not feeling inspired in the moment, if I don't have something I really want to post about, I've already got them saved on my phone. So I can just say, okay, copy, paste, put in some hashtags, do some other things for your Instagram strategy and press post, and that's it done. You know, there's not a lot of times where I'm stuck for content. And I don't want anybody else to feel like content has to be stressful. You know, people just want to know how you can help them. That's all. You know, it's not a difficult thing. And if you're really, really stuck, the best thing to do is to completely move your energy. So I like to go out for a walk, take the dog, take the kids, go and play at the park or whatever, get some photos, and before you know it, you have your content. So it shouldn't be stressful, but definitely journaling, getting some ideas out, even if it's nothing specifically to do with your business, just journal and it'll start the cogs inside your mind start to get them moving and working. And then take some time to write out some posts, but don't worry about writing and posting every single time. Like, write the posts, save them on your phone or your computer, and post them when the time is right for you. I know for me personally, a lot of my audience are generally online between 7 and 10 p.m. I'm not online at that time, not usually. So what I like to do every now and again is to create my content, save it in my phone, set a reminder for 8 p.m. to put that post up. So I have the picture ready, I have the content ready. It literally takes 2 minutes. And that means that I've got a post going out at the perfect time that my ideal client is looking on their social media. So figure out what works for them and make it work for you. If you don't want to be online in the evening, you don't have to be. You know, do the work at a time that works for you.
That's very true. And I'm using Hootsuite, or it was called, for like I said, like, okay, I need to schedule at least 2 posts for a week about the podcast I've been doing. So the podcast and everything is just going, and it's nice to know, because there are so many incredible tools as well, which help you to avoid that kind of 9 p.m. working, exactly, or 10 p.m. or 2 a.m. on the face, waking up on the desk and stuff like that. And just use any kind of tools for your advantage. And I know, like, when I've been uploading for the YouTube videos, and I have videos sorted for the rest of the year, or like till the next, till I think 16th of December. I have a video going live on YouTube every week, and I don't need to worry about that because it's all scheduled. It takes me some time now, but I know when baby is here, I don't need to worry about that. And all thing I can do is just, letting people know in this Instagram stories, hey, the video is now online. The same with a podcast. It's all about scheduling. You can pre-record, schedule it, and then I had a few weeks when I was really busy doing all these things. But now I know, and it's like I'm actually looking in my plan. It's like, okay, what I should do now, because I've done everything.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, I tell all of my clients, whether they're one-to-one clients or inside the academy or even inside my free coaching group over on Facebook, a Sunday night is when you do your planning for the week. So there's no waking up on a Monday morning and thinking, I don't know what I'm doing this week. Sunday night is all planned out. What I also like to do is the last weekend of the month, I will get a calendar out. So I'll print it offline, the calendar that's got all the boxes for all the days. And I will look at that and I will write in a subject of what I am talking about on my social media for the month going forward. So I know I have that there. So it's always in the back of my mind, like today I'm talking about this, tomorrow I'm talking about that. Because when you know ahead of time what you're talking about, your mind will start thinking of ideas of what you want to post without you even realizing it. So I always, the last weekend of the month is quite a big one, because I always plan my content ideas for the month ahead. I will also plan my week. I will time block everything for my week. I will look at what my big intentions are for the weeks and also the months, and figure out what the best strategy is for me to achieve what I want to achieve over that month. So to dedicate some time to planning is so important. For me, I know this is completely off topic, but on a Friday, that is my day for not doing any client work. I don't do any face-to-face, like I see nobody on video on a Friday, because Fridays for me are the days where I work on my business rather than in my business. So all week I'm doing client calls, I'm doing, like we have this podcast interview. Yesterday I had an interview for another lady for YouTube. There's lots of different things that I do Monday to Thursday, but Friday, that's the strategy, that's the planning, that's the bigger picture stuff. Because if I spent Monday to Friday working in my business, I would be 6 months down the line and think, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I don't even know where I want to be. So it's like 1,000,000% to keep yourself on track and to manage your time and your goals and ambition. Take that time to work on your business rather than just in your business. Like, it's an absolute game changer.
And it's funny because you said like, oh, it's out of, it's not on the topic of time management, but it actually is so much on the topic of time management, for me at least, because, for example, you said that you do planning on Sunday, and I do planning on Friday because I just can't be bothered on Sunday, and I don't like it. I don't even like talking business on Sunday, because for me that's the day off, and I don't want to. And exactly, like if you want to, you can plan your day, your week on Sunday. I do it on Friday because then I know that's the weekend and I can do whatever I want. And but it is the time management, because then you know that every Friday, I don't know, around, for me, for example, at 4:00, I will sit down, plan my week. So I sign off on Friday, and I know I don't need to be worried about what I'm doing on Monday. Yeah, the whole weekend. So everyone works differently. Everyone finds her planning day whenever it is right. Whenever it feels right. But it's really, I like that when you said I created content month ahead. And this is such a big part of the time management. And you don't need to have a social media appearance on through your business. You don't need to be at all, but just even knowing that, okay, on these days I'm doing that, on that day I'm planning the next week, on that day I'm doing, when you have that kind of structure. What I found out, and especially after we did the last episode, and you said that the power hour, I kind of start practicing the power hour as well, and I've noticed that I achieve more. And yesterday I went through my list. I created like for next 3 days, I created like top project. So what is my top project for each day? And I know that needs to be done, and whatever is underneath that it can be done. And I found out yesterday, it was on a Monday. On Monday, I went through the list till Thursday. You did top projects, And I was like, okay, that's good, but what are you gonna do for the rest of the week? And I was like, oh, and you can find it really helps you when you have the clarity and when you have a plan, and you know exactly what you shared even before. When you have the plan, when you have actions, when you know what's going on, it helps you so much, instead of coming to your home office or a working space you have with I'm not sure what I'm doing today.
Exactly. Like, that is the number one way to get nothing done. And that is to turn up with no clue what you're meant to be doing, because you will spend half an hour thinking, wait, what do I need to do? What should I have done by now? Let me go on social media to get some inspiration. Before you know it, it's lunchtime. Like, don't do that. Just plan ahead a little bit. Like, it doesn't need to be like completely perfect. Give yourself a little bit of an idea of what you need to do, your main priority for the day, your main priority for the week, whatever it is, and just get to work. Like, don't ever think, I'm sitting at my desk, I don't have a clue what to do, so I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to stress out, because you will get absolutely nowhere. Like, you may as well just go for a walk. Like, you may as well just not go to your desk that day, because you'll get nothing done anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no point in thinking I'll just turn up at my desk and the ideas will flow to me, because it generally doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. And funny enough, it happened to me this morning, because I created my plan yesterday, and this morning I started working, and then it's like, oh, that's not really a top project, is it? It's like my top project was complete nonsense. And then I caught myself being on a social media and kind of like, what am I doing today? What's wrong with me? And I was like, okay, no. Like, shake it out. I can't go for work because it's raining and it's horrible. What I'm doing today? And then because I kind of practiced this for a little bit, so I was easy. I find easier to snap myself back, or just okay, just find something to do. Or what is on the list for tomorrow, or have a look. But it is important when you're creating the top projects or things that they are actually clear, or they are important. 100%. It's not like doing podcasts with Kirsty, and it's like, well, obviously.
It's funny actually, because I will write myself. So I have my to-do list Monday to Thursday. I don't write a to-do list on Fridays. Like, Friday for me, within my business, like within Her Happy Life Academy, Fridays are what we call the day of play. So it's about doing anything at all that feels good for you, to keep your energy high, to focus on you, to focus on all the good vibes and stuff. You do work along the way, but it's all that feel good work. Now, what I done this morning is I could have sworn to you last night that I wrote my list out for today. Like, I could have sworn to you. I couldn't find that list this morning. And I came through to my office this morning and I started thinking, wait, did I write it, or was that the day before? And I was in that mindset of, I know that I have stuff to do today, but I'm not quite sure what it is. So I decided to get my book out that I've got all my to-do lists in from the last, like, however many weeks or months. I went through my to-do list from the last 2 days, so Monday, Tuesday, and the last week, and I highlighted anything that hadn't been done. And I can look at that. So there's 3 different pages that have got things highlighted in bright pink. That was my to-do list for today, because I decided, well, if it was important on Monday and it didn't get done, it needs to get done today. So if there's ever that moment where I don't have a plan, which is not very often at all, but whenever there is that moment, I'll just look back at stuff that should have been done before, highlight it all, and before you know it, there's your list. Write it out in priority order, time block it all into your diary, and there's your plan. Like, there's no excuse to not be prepared.
Exactly. And especially even when you start doing some sort of self-work on time management, and then you notice you progress and you're doing much better and you get things done faster than before, then it can happen. Then you suddenly like, well, I done everything I supposed to do, or I done most of the things. So it's like learning is like, oh, next time I can add something, because now I am able to do a bit more than I used to be.
Exactly.
Yes, it's about growing in your time management skills.
Yeah, definitely. And you will soon realize that when you're so focused, time will expand for you. Like, you will start to realize that you actually have more time than what you had before, because you're so structured and because you're so organized. One thing I would definitely say is, when you look at your list of things to do or your plan for the day and you think, you know what, I've done all of it or I've done most of it, I'll just take 5 minutes and I'll just catch up on some stuff on social media. Be prepared to waste the next 2 hours of your life. Social media will suck you into that rabbit hole quicker than Alice in Wonderland fell down it. Like, it just takes away your time. For me, there is 2 times that happens, and I have to intentionally avoid those situations. So for me, it is as soon as I come home from dropping my kids off at school, I'm in the car, there's no one talking to me. I don't have anybody saying, like, can I have a snack? Can we do this? Can we do that? It's just me and my phone. Now, if I open up Instagram or Facebook, I could sit in my car for an hour. That's not productive. You know, it's not productive. I have this weird thing where I love sitting in my car. So many mums listen to this will resonate. See, when your kids aren't around and you're sitting in your car and the doors are shut, it's bliss. If you look at my Instagram, like some of my pictures on my Instagram feed are actually taken in my car, quite a few of them. It's definitely one of my favorite places to be. Another time where social media kind of sucks me in and I have to really watch what I'm doing is once I pick the kids up from school, bring them home, the kids come inside. So all they want to do, get changed, have a snack and play with their toys. So I could sit down for a whole hour if I wanted to and go down that rabbit hole on social media. But I know that as soon as that hour's up and the kids are starting to say to me, is dinner ready yet? I'm thinking it's like 5 o'clock and I've not even taken my shoes off yet. And then the panic starts. So I know that as soon as I come home, my phone goes onto airplane mode for an hour. And I put some music on, I get changed. I use that time to transition from my business day into my time with the kids. I get changed, put some music on, I tidy up a little bit, I'll start cooking dinner. Only once all of that is kind of underway, I will then turn my phone, turn the notifications and things back on. Because I know that by then I'm past that, I have time to waste. So 1,000,000%, you can be the most productive person in the day, but when you have those tiny little moments where you think, I'll just jump on Instagram for a second, recognize when you're at your weakest and do something else.
It's never a second with social media. It's really it's a horrible thing, and I notice every time when I do it, and then you start seeing all these funny things or commenting, and it's like it's not important, and all the
Exactly.
times I've done it to be a bit better because I could see like I can get distracted or I can get bored of what I'm doing, and the first thing what I do is social media.
Exactly.
And I said, this is so wrong. So what I do is sometimes when I get really naughty, I put my phone on the other side of the room, and that's it. And I don't like it's over there. I'm not going to get up and get the phone. You know?
Exactly. I do that in the evening. See, when I sit down, the kids are in bed and I sit down, my phone is at my desk and I'm on my sofa because I'll look at my phone and think, I'm not getting up to get that. I'm just going to stay right here and I'm fine, you know. And it's really, really important. You know, so many people spend time first thing in the morning going on social media and just filling their mind with everything that you just don't need to know in the first half hour of your day. You know, that's when your mind is at the most impressionable it will ever be. So do something super, super healthy for your mindset during that time. Stay off social media. You don't need, like, you could use your time a lot better at that time in the morning.
And it is anytime I saw recently a post that someone said it was more about like healthy eating, and they was like, oh, I don't have time to cook, I know, and that's a lot of people use that excuse. They're like, oh, well, I don't have time to cook, I know. That's like, well, it takes you 30 minutes to make a healthy balanced meal. You know? And there was a picture like, well, you don't have a 30 minutes for prepare a meal, but you have an hour on Instagram, you have 2 hours on Netflix, you have 2 hours on WhatsApp chatting with your friends. but you don't have a 30 minutes for the dinner.
Exactly.
And that's exactly like, it could be for the business. Like, I don't have time for the business. Like, well, if you can spend an hour on Instagram,
Exactly.
you have an hour for the business.
Exactly. It's the amount of ladies that I have spoken to over the last, like, even this year, that have said to me, you know, I just don't have time to take those big moves and take that big action in my business. I don't have time because I am at home and I have the kids because the kids aren't in school. So we watch movies during the day. We had Disney Plus. We sit and we've watched 5 Disney movies this week. Like, hello, you have that time. Everybody has the same 24 hours. It's how you use them and how you prioritize them. Like, yes, there's times where you want to be 100% in mum mode. But yes, there's times where you also have to be 100% in business mode. If you want your business to give you everything that you've ever wanted, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. You're going to have to put in the work. Like, it's not going to happen if you're sitting watching Rapunzel for the 3rd time. Like, it's just not.
I'm laughing, well, because I haven't seen Rapunzel. But I love what we said, and I think it was in the first episode we did together. It was that even though you I don't want to say sacrifice the time with your daughters, but when you have to work and they have to, be in the room and play and just be quiet, we mentioned that you are inspiration for them. Even though, like, okay, I can't play right now because I have to work. If you would have a office job and you have to go 9 to 5, you will be coming home even later than
Exactly.
that. And you, even when you're home, working from home, and that can come with a lot of temptations not to work and be with the kids and watching the Rapunzel for 3rd time. But by just saying, no, I need to work because I want to create my business, I want to grow my business, you explain the reasons,
Exactly.
you explain what is your passion, what is your motivation to your kids, if they are old enough to understand. And I'm sure you're setting a great example for your daughters because they see, hey, it's possible. I don't need to help with the job. I don't need to work till 7 p.m. every day.
Exactly. I have said to my kids, like, you don't understand how lucky you are to have a mum who's in a position to not miss out on anything at school, to still spend every single evening with you, and to still have the lifestyle that we have. Like, you don't understand how lucky you are. I never had that as a kid. I had 2 parents, when my dad was still alive, I had 2 parents that worked more than 9 to 5. They were both, like, my dad worked in prison as a prison officer. He was really, really high up in his career. My mum was an accountant. I was in breakfast clubs at school. I was in after school clubs. During the holidays, I was in activity camps, kids clubs, everything. My kids, I have said to them so many times, you don't know how lucky you are. And, like, yes, they do see me work every now and again, like, especially during lockdown. They were off school, 6 months off school, longest 6 months of any parent's life. But they saw me work, and they saw me work every single day. And my turnover in my business within the first 2 months, so the 2nd of April to the 2nd of June, my turnover increased by over 500% because I worked. And I worked and I worked and I worked, and my kids saw that. Now, yeah, they would say to me, like, can we do this? Can we do that? And yeah, there was times where I could have been really tempted to say, yeah, just forget about work just now. Let's go and do whatever. But I started to say to my kids, like, you want to go back to Disney World. Let's go online. Let's price how expensive it is to go back to Disney World. So we were there a few years ago. They absolutely loved it. They're desperate to go back. So we priced out how much it would be to go back to Disney. And I said to them, where does that money come from? And they just looked at me like they did not know what to say. And I said to them, well, when I'm doing this for work, when I'm talking to these ladies and helping them with their businesses, I earn money from that. That's what helps pay for Disneyland or Disney World. And I do that with my kids all the time. Like, yeah, okay, so we'll play games 1 minute and then I'll say, like, I have to work now. And quite often, if I come off of a coaching call, my kids will say to me, well, how much money did you make now? And it's just like, they just know that they have this lifestyle that they have because I work. And they're starting to understand that that's where money comes from. We have this rule that when I'm at my desk, that's when I'm working, and that's, you can't just run over and jump all over me and say like, I want all the snacks in the world right now. Like, you have to wait because I'm at my desk and I'm working. And having that boundary, especially with older kids, having that boundary is really, really important. And another thing that I've done to help my kids understand what it is that I do and how that is going to not just benefit me, but benefit them as well, is we created vision boards together. So I done mine for my business, and this was going back probably about a year ago now, actually. I had loads of travel brochures, loads of magazines, printed a bunch of stuff off the internet, and we all sat down together and made our vision boards. Now, they were looking at mine being like, what does this picture mean? And what does that mean? So I was saying to them, like, this is something that mum wants to do. This is a holiday that I want us to go on. This is something within my business. And the kids started to copy. So they would cut out sunsets out of travel pictures, and like random, like in a brochure where you get, like, it's talking about Australia and it's got a map of Australia, they would cut that out and stick it on their vision board. And afterwards I was able to say, when I work, when I'm at my desk working really hard, it's moving us closer to having this. If you want the things on your vision board, let mum work, you do your homework, you do all the things that you have to do, and we'll start to tick those things off your board. But it was all about boundaries and communication, but also getting them involved so that they understand.
That's beautiful. I love that they start copying you doing the vision boards. And it's beautiful because that's one of the things that for moms, out there, you're not doing the business just for yourself. You're setting up the example for kids. You're being inspiration for kids. And no matter how small or big the business is, just when the kids are seeing that, it just makes such a huge difference. They will get the understanding. And
exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely part of the time management and making the business priority number one for good reasons. It's not just, oh, I need to make money.
Exactly.
So I'm not dependent on my husband, but it's making money because I'm making the business priority number one because I want to.
Exactly. And it's about sharing all of that with your kids as well. Like, if they're curious to what you're doing, don't turn around and say, look, I'm really busy, like I've not got time for this right now. Say to your kids, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it. Let them see what you're doing, but then say to them, look, mum's working right now, let me do this and we'll play after. Like, don't feel bad about not always putting your kids as number one, because you being successful in your business is going to directly influence your kids anyway.
That's brilliant. I think that's the best ending for this podcast, because it is just makes a point that your business is number one priority for good reasons, or for the passion, for the kids, for everything. It's not just the money.
Exactly.
And it just makes a whole different it just makes sense and different, that why you're doing it. It's not just for the money itself.
Exactly. It's for what it can give you and your family. And I mean, that's why I do what I do. I was actually asked last week or the week before, why do you coach mums and not just women in general? Now, my response to that was, I coach mums to build their businesses online, because I know having a successful business online, I know what that gives my kids. And for me to know that there's kids all around the world that are having incredible experiences with their families because of the work that their mum and I are doing together, like, that's incredible. It's not just about the mums, like, it impacts and influences the kids as well. And that makes me super happy. I was on a call with a lady from Sweden earlier on today, and her little boy was jumping about in the background of the video. And I thought, what, this little boy is going to have the best year next year because of the work that me and his mum are doing. I'm in Scotland, she's in Sweden. Like, that's incredible.
That's
just incredible.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Kirsty. I know that you will have to go soon for the girls.
Yes.
So they are now waiting.
Well, they don't wait for no one, those two.
Yeah. But it was beautiful ending of the podcast, and especially it's just the business is not only about us, it's not only about the money, and it has a deeper purpose, and it's
Mhm.
it's important to
Yeah.
to have the purpose and knowing why you're doing it. And then it's like, if you really want to hear Kirsty's story, go back to the Moms in Business episode we did a few months back, and you will understand more. And we did the other episode as well on the masculine and feminine energy, so that gives you more and more information. So this whole episode will make even more sense.
Exactly. And make a coffee or pour yourself a glass of wine, because I can talk. There's quite a bit of information in those episodes, but it's amazing. I love
No,
it.
they're all brilliant. So thank you very much. And I'm sure we will talk soon again.
Yes, we will.
And thinking about another episode. So if you listening on the podcast, you can comment, or you can there will be links for like me, that Kirsty. You can find us on Instagram, social media, everywhere. I will add the links below. If you have any questions or requests for the future episodes, do let us know. And yeah, so thank you very much, Kirsty, again.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.